My name is Ian Attfield. I'm the DFID Education Advisor in Tanzania. I'd like to talk a little bit about the rigorous literature reviews that DFID has been commissioning in 2012. A suite of 7 rigorous literature reviews were commissioned to really help DFID decide how best to build their research and evidence portfolio to support programming ultimately aimed about getting better value for money with the resources that the UK taxpayers spend on the education programmes around the world, predominantly in Africa and Asia. Of those 7 literature reviews, I've been focusing primarily on the one that's studying the political economy. Political economy is really trying to scratch beneath the surface in developing countries and really understand some of the more hidden aspects about what goes on, what drives change, who are the real elite, the power brokers, what are the risks to programmes related to the use of money, what sort of reform programmes are likely to work, what are likely to face resistance, for example. It might make sense to try to get teachers to come to school more often, but what happens if, for example, the teachers' unions object or the teacher appointments are decided by patronage rather than by meritocratic appointments and promotions, that sort of themes. So it's actually quite, they're quite involved pieces of work. It involves generally teams of researchers, doing large searches for keywords, focusing down on the best literature they can find, putting them through various quality lenses to really only utilise the ones that are considered to be robust, and then try to write them up in a way that is sensible, has clear messages, and also develop a sort of theoretical change work, or something that we call a theory of change. They serve 2 purposes: to help us inform our programming and how to avoid mistakes, and I think that's the one which the political economy is something which really lends itself to. Many of the countries that DFID work in are not straightforward countries. For example, I've worked in Nigeria, where trying to decide how best to use resources is really difficult, given the system of patronage and corruption, which often seems to be all-encompassing and can often cause many programmes to fail. So my role in the literature reviews has been to act as a peer reviewer on the political economy analysis literature reviews. So this has involved coming in at 2 or 3 levels, looking at the terms of reference initially, making sure that the scope of work is feasible, that we're suggesting the right sorts of literature areas to look at, where they might be, and to try to specify the time and the outcomes. Then there was a process of selecting from 3 or 4 competing institutions that wanted to do the work. Following the evaluation, there's been 2 further stages where some draft reports and initial theory of change have been developed by the selected institution that we've obviously had a look at and made some suggestions on the direction and scope of the work prior for it to being fully developed. Then finally we received the draft final review report, which we've been through recently and sat together today at the Attfield conference, which happened to have many of those academics with us. So we've sat down to really sort of thrash out some of the details of how we can really crystallise this piece of work. And hopefully you'll find the literature reviews useful. I've certainly enjoyed being a peer reviewer of them. I've learnt a lot, and obviously many of those country experiences and ways of thinking are really not things that are necessarily straightforward or intuitive.